is the time delay between announcements and releases, and is it too long? So the element they brought up was Elder Scrolls, Kingdom Hearts 3, Cyberpunk. What do you think? Do you think they're announcing too soon?
So I actually saw a response in the chat which resonated a little bit with what I've learned, especially for social media and marketing, right? Not that I'm arguing either way, but the response was basically along the lines of making sure that we are still being in touch with the customer, right? And still garnering interest, as well as building that hype, which valid, especially in the gaming world, because there are literally like umpteen million things coming out at once all the time, you know, that are shiny and sparkly.
There is
and
stiff competition
awesome,
for
right?
gaming dollars.
So I understand why they're doing it. However, I have a particular amount of ire, especially for AAA game developer content that comes out that is just like a video of the game, and that's all we have for the next 3 to 5 years.
Here's a pre-rendered thing of alpha test game footage, and you see that little white text in the upper left-hand corner, pre-alpha game footage.
Yes, and it doesn't actually show you any of the gameplay, so you don't have an idea of what the game is, and there is no further fleshing out, there is no further information, which I understand that's probably because the developers are still making all of the stuff.
The other flip side to this, too, of them not announcing, is that you do have gaming outlets out there and tech news outlets out there that are going to get the information, right? Yes. They're going to, it's going to get leaked that Ubisoft is working on a Star Wars game, right?
Yes.
Like,
so they might as well get out ahead of it and announce it.
They may as well get out ahead of it and say.
But what do you do, what do you do after you release that graphic or that test footage or whatever else? How do you maintain the hype? How do you make sure that you're honoring the people who are excited to play that?
Somebody in the chat says, I have a good Half-Life 3 is on track. Look, we all know Valve can't count. Valve can't count to 3, okay? They just can't. Announcements are fine, but test footage is dumb.
I can agree with that, especially if it doesn't show you, like, what the game is about.
So here's the thing, where I really get annoyed, and I think they did this with, I think it was AC Unity was the one that they did this with. Don't BS with your test footage.
Yeah.
And they've had this problem in the past.
Yes.
If you're gonna show in-game alpha footage, make it be in-game alpha footage. Oh, Watch Dogs, that was another one that Ubisoft got hit on really hard.
Yes.
Because what they did is they sent out a sequence that you can play through in the game, right? And I remember this one distinctly because they played it at E3, and I got super hyped. I was like, dude, let's go, this looks great. And it shows the rain coming down in the Chicago streets, and it looks really full, and it's this whole like action sequence. You do play through this. After the game released, everybody came back, and they were like, dude, and the difference was what Ubisoft had done is it was beta level game footage. It was game footage, but it was completely optimized on a machine, on a PC specifically
for this machine.
On a PC that, let's face it, right? The game dev companies aren't having a hard time getting a hold of graphics cards when they want them. Right? That's the thing.
Yes.
And so when you do that, and specifically what people were getting really irritated about is, here's some PC rendered game footage, and yeah, you can get this thing if you've got a top tier, high level PC.
A 5090.
This is what it's going to look like. But for everybody who's playing on Xbox 360 or Xbox One or PS4, it ain't going to look like this. It's going to look like this. And so there was a lot of consternation about how they're doing this test footage. Some in the chat who I know who has done a lot of this, you do early PR, you get customers to learn more, you create a more connected community, more FOMO and word of mouth, which goes back to our last topic, and especially true for live services. Somebody in the other chat is saying game footage is mostly pulled from top-end PCs. Right. Yes. I'm just saying when the difference between the top-end PC and the console version is
vast. It's a hardware and software issue.
You got a problem.
Yes. That just brings an entirely different topic to mind. And I'm going to wave that away for now. However, I do think that and even if you want to build FOMO, right? And this is in the gaming world in particular, like, I feel like there should be a better way to do it. I don't disagree with the building hype, especially for a game, right? And even though I am a notoriously hard person to get with FOMO.
And this comes back to the to delay or not, right? Because you might be in a situation where you might be in a situation where we're like, okay, hey, we think this thing's on track and we're hitting our gates and we're hitting our project steps, right? And then all of a sudden, 90% of the way through the development, some click happens and you're like, oh crap, we're now actually further out. Right. Than we thought we were. And so now you're again back into that, do we delay it or do we release what we can and hope we can day one patch this, right, and get it going?
I have a question actually, and this might be also for Mallow in chat. What's the worst thing that can happen with being transparent with the people that you are building that hype and community and FOMO around? Because I do feel like, especially with who I am as a person, I'll just take it to base, right? Being genuine, authentic, and transparent is something that builds that good rapport, and it also makes the people that you interact with feel respected in terms of their time and their knowledge.
So I while we're waiting to see if chat replies on this, when Mallow replies in the chat, here's the thing. I would say that we want to believe that to be true, and that's one of the things that we want to believe.
Right.
But I think I see it with stuff in the store, where sometimes the more transparent you are, the worse they take it, because they just write you off.
Right.
They're just like, oh, you're transparent, and like they're like, oh, no, okay, well, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm just not coming back. I'm not doing it anymore. Yeah. Right. And so lose trust in the customers, which in turn loses customers' attention, which in turn loses money. Which I think is kind of the short version of what I'm saying here is
so if how do you balance that?
I don't think there's a way to do it. I don't know. I mean, that's the best answer I can give you is I have no idea. I mean, if I knew that,
clearly we are still learning these things too.
Like straight up, like that is something that I think that we're still trying to learn. As both content creators, as a place where people can mingle and mix and be, you know, and
event coordinators.
We've talked about this. Yes, we know you're available for consultation. We've talked about this a lot, you know, about how do you balance the transparency with your community about where you are, what your capabilities are. Yeah. And how many times have we seen that transparency thrown back in our face?
That is fair.
Like where they're like, well, because your transparency doesn't meet my expectations,
then F you forever.
Yeah. I mean, and we have been literally at the receiving end of that messaging. It's so hard.
It is very hard. And I do think that there is a level of respect and integrity as well that kind of comes with that. But I also will say that if a game developer came to me, right, and said, hey, this game is delayed because the lead developer's cat, knocked a vase of water on the server stack that we store everything on, I'd be like, damn, that's a story. Like, that sucks.
Like, legit.
But like, especially with technology, we do have ways to back those things up, which is also something to be said, especially for game development.
Again, swinging this all the way through, and I want to hit a couple of things, especially from the TikTok chat. Some people are talking about FOMO for Diablo 4, and it looks like Diablo 4 is going to be really solid at launch. And here's the thing: you want to bet? I actually had this conversation with one of our business partners on Saturday because we were debating whether to do a Diablo 4 launch party at the store, and I was like, "Yeah, how much you want to bet you're going to have 2-hour server queues going in on day one?" Well, they did that server slam. I know they did.
They did that for WoW too.
I know they did. I'm absolutely aware that they did. I don't trust Activision Blizzard, further than I can throw Pete, right? Which is not very far, right? Somebody in the chats bring up, like, people went and raised pricing over the actual amount, like $20 instead of $19.95. Customers abandoned them. That's absolutely true.
Psychology is such an interesting thing.
And Phil's brought up, and again, their argument was 2077 is they should just have been like, look, PS4, Xbox One, you are not strong enough to run this game. We're sorry. We can't release on the last edition consoles. That probably would have helped them quite a bit. Overwatch 2 PvE being representation.
Yeah,
absolutely. We talked about that last week. Go check out our YouTube channel on that one.
Yeah,
we deep dived the Overwatch 2 issue.
I am upset about that. Hey nerds, thanks for watching. Visit gamersheavenpnw.com for our merch store, which you can get cool shirts like this and rep some of my awesome art. Also, like and subscribe for more content so we can make more videos for you.